everyone, it's Andrea and welcome to this edition of Talks in the Car. Today I just want to encourage you and to remind you to trust God. Sometimes we go through situations where we think and we feel that our blessing is right in front of us. We experience some highs and some joys and we're like, oh, this is what God has promised me. This is what God is gifting me with. This is what God is favoring me with, only to find out that that's not what God intended, or to find out that things did not work out the way we intended. And when those times happen, we find ourselves in a state of confusion. We find ourselves sometimes falling into discouragement, falling into depression, wondering what happened. How did I get it wrong? What took place? Did I do something wrong? Was I wrong across the board? But I want to encourage you just to continue to trust God. Don't throw in the towel. Don't become overcome with discouragement and depression. Don't come to a place where you decide that it's not worth trusting God. But know that what God has for you is for you. And I say this often, that we don't always have the ability to see what's up ahead. God can see what we don't see. God understands what we don't understand. And oftentimes when things don't go the way we think they should go, when things bear off to the left, that is God's way of protecting us. That is God's way of shielding us from what we don't see up ahead. And while it can be hurtful, and while it can put you in a state of heartache, while it may bring tears to your eyes, just know that God wants His very, very, very best for you. I am in that place right now where I was in a place of thinking that something that I had been praying for, had been seeking, was about to bloom and was about to come forth, only to realize that that was not the case at all. And as I began to think about it and question God in a respectful way, but question God as to, God, what happened? God, did I do something that was wrong? Did I not show enough appreciation to you, God, for the blessing? Asking God all these questions, but not getting the answers that I was looking for. I had to come to a place where I was, God, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Things seem out of alignment. What I desired doesn't look like it's going to happen. But God, I still trust you. God, I still believe that you have my best interest at heart. And yes, there were moments when the tears fell. Yes, there were moments when I was in myself and quiet and maybe we'll say a little antisocial, just kind of spending some time with myself, trying to get myself together. While those moments did take place, I was still able to rise above and say, God, but I trust you. God, I believe you. God, even though I don't understand what is happening, why things went the way they went, I still believe you. I still have a confidence in you. I know that even when I don't see what's happening, I know that you do. Even when it seems like there is a delay, I know that your timing is best. And so as I continue to encourage myself and continue to remind myself that God is all-knowing, that God wants his best for me, that God doesn't dangle things in front of you and then snatch them back. While I remind myself of those things, I remind you and I encourage you, continue to trust God. Continue to hold on to the promises that God has made to you. Continue to know that your good is just that. It's good. But God has better for you. Oftentimes, what we are willing to settle for, what we are willing to go with, what we are willing to take on, God has better for us. Our good is never and can never be compared to God's best. God has better for us. And oftentimes, God's best are things that we would never have thought of for ourselves. So continue to trust God. Continue to believe what God said. Continue to hold on to the promise. Continue to worship. Continue to prostrate yourself before God. Continue to pray. Continue to study. Continue to do all the things that you know are right, are in agreement with God according to his word. And just know that what God has for you, it will be for you. What God has for you cannot be a snatch back by people. It cannot be deterred by people. And know that God desires his best for his children. Know that God wants the best for his children. And don't find yourself being discouraged. Don't find yourself casting away the joy of the Lord. Don't find yourself walking away from God. But just know that God will continue to cover you. That when God does not allow something, or if there's a no, or if there's an understanding that is not clear to you, that God has it all under control and that he wants his very best for his children. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next time on Talks.